I walked away from a date because he expected me to pay. He invited me on a surprise date, pulled up to the ticket booth, and told me to go ahead and pay. I just stared at him because I genuinely thought I heard him wrong. We worked together. We'd been orbiting each other for a couple months, doing that painfully obvious thing where everyone can tell two people like each other, except the two people involved are pretending to be casual about it. We'd hung out before, but this was the first time he actually said he wanted to take me somewhere. A surprise, he said. He'd pick me up from the train station. Just trust him. So I did. I got off the train, he picked me up, and for a second it actually felt sweet. He was smiling, acting a little nervous, and when we pulled up to this huge botanical garden with all these glass houses and flowers and winding paths, I got excited because I love that kind of thing. It felt thoughtful, romantic even, like maybe he had actually paid attention when I talked. Then we walked up to the ticket desk. He gestured at the cashier and said, "Go ahead." I looked at him. "What?" he said, completely serious. "Since I drove us here, you should pay for the tickets." Not joking, not smiling. Just standing there like this was the most normal sentence anyone had ever spoken. I felt my whole face change. He noticed immediately, because then he did that panicky, backpedal men do when they realize they've stepped directly on a landmine they placed themselves. I mean, I'll pay for my own. You pay for yours. Which somehow made it worse, because now it wasn't just tacky, it was also stupid. He invited me to a surprise location, didn't tell me where we were going, didn't ask if I even wanted to spend money on it, and then informed me at the entrance that my role in his romantic plan was apparently financing myself like I was his coworker on a field trip. I didn't argue, didn't raise my voice, didn't ask what the hell was wrong with him. I just turned around and walked away. He came after me immediately, apologizing, saying he didn't mean it like that, saying I was overreacting, then saying I wasn't overreacting, then saying he thought that was fair because he drove. It was a very chaotic apology. I kept walking to the nearest bus stop and told him to leave me alone. On the bus ride home, I started second-guessing myself, because here's the thing, I don't actually care about paying. I've paid for dates before. Most of my exes were broke, and I covered everything half the time. Sometimes all of it. This was never about the money. It was about the setup. If a man invites me somewhere, keeps it a surprise, drives me there, watches me get excited, and then springs the cost on me at the ticket desk like I'm reimbursing him for my own kidnapping, that is not a misunderstanding. That is a personality preview. When I got home, he texted me a paragraph saying he was testing whether I was the kind of girl who expects men to pay for everything. That snapped the last little thread of doubt clean in half. Because first of all, if you have to run little field experiments on women in public to determine whether we're gold diggers, you should not be dating. You should be in a lab. Second, the test was stupid. If he wanted to know whether I was comfortable splitting things, he could have used his words like an adult, instead of luring me into a fern-themed economics quiz. I didn't respond. The next day at work, he acted wounded, quiet, sulky, like I'd embarrassed him. One of our coworkers pulled me aside and asked what happened, because apparently he'd already given his version, which was that I stormed off because he wouldn't pay for me. I looked her dead in the face and said, "No, I left because he invited me on a surprise date and then tried to charge admission." She laughed so hard she had to lean against the wall. Unfortunately, she wasn't the only one he told. By lunch, 3 people had heard some version of the story. In all of his versions, he was a humble modern man trying to establish equality, and I was either spoiled, dramatic, or both. So I got annoyed enough to tell the full story to exactly one person in the break room while he was standing 20 feet away, pretending not to listen. I said, if he wanted 50-50, he should have said that before the surprise trip, not after I was already trapped at the gate like a Victorian child being sold to a greenhouse. That one traveled fast. By the end of the shift, people were calling it the Botanical Garden Audit. He stopped looking me in the eye after that. 2 days later, he sent one more text. I guess I just misread the situation. And that was the funniest part to me, because no, he read it perfectly. He just thought I'd be too polite to leave. I blocked his number, kept my job, and last weekend I took myself to the same botanical garden with my best friend. I bought both tickets, not because I had to, because when I invite someone somewhere, I'm not insane.